Okay, so we're gonna do it. I'm gonna talk about The Mad Ship by Robin Hobb, and it's going to be similar to how I've been doing my Mistborn spoiler videos. So if you haven't seen those, I'm probably just gonna talk about spoilers. I just want to talk about this book. I assume that if you've read Ship of Magic, you have a pretty good idea if you want to keep going on with Mad Ship. I don't even know how I would talk about this spoiler free. I loved it. 5 stars, so I guess if you wanted to know that. What else can I tell you? Character development keeps happening. World politics keeps happening. Things are still very Hobb. I mean, if you've read any Robin Hobb, it keeps happening. Okay? But I made a list. I made some notes. They're mostly just me listing out the different, arcs so I don't forget anything, because there are so many moving pieces. This is a fantasy that is long, and it's kind of slow to medium paced with explosive moments, and it's awesome. I spent 2 to 3 weeks reading it. It was great, and I just wanted to make sure I remember to talk about all the things that I was like, what? What? Because that happened a lot. Let's talk first with the lore stuff, okay? So things that I was really intrigued by with the last book, reasons I like this more than Farseer, is the lore and the history of this world planet. I don't know if it's Earth or not. And we get a lot of that with the serpents, and we get to meet real dragons, and we get to learn more about the elderlings, and yes, so excited about that. So I had predicted at Ship of Magic that maybe the live ships were maybe fossils of the serpents, and that's why they had this memory connection, and I was close. I wasn't quite on. It's actually these serpents get into cocoons to become born into dragons, and it's the cocoon that's not actually a living thing but holds the memories of the thing that got made into the live ships. And learning that whole evolution trajectory, the way it was given to me, loved it. So good. I loved I love that you could guess what was going on, but that it also wasn't exactly what I expected, and how that got given to us via the serpents, via Malta and the Rainwild people. Getting to be in the Rainwild people area was also cool. I still need to know more about the world, questions right now. What was this apocalyptic event? How was it triggered? Are we going to be able to have more dragons? It looks like optimistically we might. Also, who were these others on the island where they trapped the she who always remembers, or whatever the name of the white serpent was? Description-wise, they reminded me a lot of the Rainwild traders. So I'm wondering, is a similar thing that was that is obviously altering the bodies of the Rainwild people happening to those others? Were they also humans, or were they just humanoid, and why did they trap that? What was the reason for that? I want to know. And obviously those abominations, the others, they're gone. At least we think they are. There seemed to be a lot of death over there. But I just have a lot of questions. I still really want to understand why this landscape does alter these bodies in such dramatic ways. I really want to understand when the elder people, or what they're called, I don't know. I guess elderlings, maybe. I want to know more about that. So I had to cut something because I realized it might have been Farseer trilogy spoiler. But having read Farseer, there was a thing that I was confused about, and it made sense, and it was really cool. So I think so far that's the only thing that has crossed over for me, is there was a world building thing that made sense with a thing that happened in Assassin's Quest, and I was like, this is awesome. Because I was literally sending Voxer messages, and I was like, wait, this doesn't make sense, because didn't this happen there? And then literally pages later, it was fell into place, which is so satisfying to me. So that was all really cool. I want to know more. And let's go into Malta and her betrothed. I forget his name all the time. I think it's because I don't pronounce it in my head. When I read it, it's just a group of letters that start with an R. And guys, I have such unpopular opinions about Malta. I think now people, by the end of this book, like her, maybe. I have been pro-Malta point of views the entire time. I have loved watching her be a spoiled brat, and I have loved waiting for her to have to deal with consequences, and that didn't even really happen. She just got woken up. She was just told, your dad's, kidnapped, and suddenly she had to step up, and she had to adjust, and she's also growing up. She's at that transition point in life, and watching that was so satisfying to me. Watching her at the end when she meets the satrap, or I can never say his name, the leader of the area, and realizes, oh, this was me. And like that was a good punishment. And also the sacrifice she makes to take in all the memories of that area to then try and save the dragon just to help this one person. Like that was so different of Malta. Like that was crazy. Like it wasn't completely selfless. Like the dragon promised to save her dad, but still that's like that is not the Malta you thought when you read Ship of Magic. I don't know. I really enjoy a lot of her stuff. I really liked there was a big family fight scene, and I think Hobb writes these fight scenes like so well, like these disagreements, these arguments. They're really tense, they're really stressful because they feel so real, and I'm just like, oh, you can't say that. Don't step on their toes there. This is not productive. And Malta literally is like, hey, we want to do this, and you guys are all arguing about this, but we can all agree the first step is, can we pay for it? So let's start logic. You guys all taught me to start with logic, and I'm like, yes. Mainly because that's how I would handle a dispute, but I don't know. I'm really excited to see what else happens with Malta, especially as she grows. I mean, she's had the most growth, which makes sense. We started this series with her as a preteen, and now she's like a teenager, and honestly, you never develop more than around that time. I mean, you keep going, right? Like, I don't think any of us are done developing, but like, man, has she had some great work done. All right, and then with the rest of the crew, we've got Althea, Brashen, Peregrine, Amber. I love things where people are fixing a boat. I don't know why. I don't know when this happened. I think it was when I was watching Falcon and Winter Soldier or something, but then I remembered it's in Forrest Gump. Like basically, whenever people have to come together to fix a thing, to solve a tangible problem and be a team, I eat that stuff up. And that happened here, and it was great. And then Peregrine's on the sea, and Peregrine is discovering self-identity, and that's terrifying, but amazing, and he deserves it. And I'm so glad he has a friend like Amber to like help him through that time. Like, Amber's a great friend. Amber is by far the best person in this entire series in terms of like quality of human so far to me. She's amazing. And the tension between Althea and Brashen, and Althea like really thinking about, what are my next steps in life in this community? Because can I really be a wife? Because she has a pretty good prospect with one of the other trader boys that she does respect, who respects her to a degree. I don't think he would be the healthy option for her, and she kind of comes to the same conclusion. And her and Brashen and the tension, it's really well done. I really like it. I am curious to see where this goes. I think Brashen becoming the captain is so good. I was so tense when Althea had to like fight for herself as she was being sexually assaulted. That was a lot, but it like worked out. Well, it was also just a very tense scene with that serpent and everything like that. But I really loved that character group. I would have loved to have spent more time with them. I think every time I got pulled away from that perspective, I'm just like, but my friends, like the thing I've been wanting was for these things to all be on a boat with Peregrine. That's what I wanted to have happen in Ship of Magic. And I'm so happy it happened here. And there's a new kid. He's from the Six Duchies, and I love him. I can't remember his name, but he's amazing. And if Robin Hobb hurts him, I'm going to be upset, okay? I'm going to be upset. All right, other things I want to talk about. Bingtown politics. I feel like this has to come up. They're not in a good place. I think actually there's like a riot now or civil war. And I think honestly, the slow burn, like powder keg of it all has been done so well. It's been building since Ship of Magic. And here when it explodes at the ball, I thought it was done super well. Really believable. I think sometimes when I'm reading stories with a lot of civil unrest, I don't have a lot of buy-in as to why it happens at a certain point in a story. Like, I think that's a type of plot device that sometimes to me can feel plot conveniency, but in this case it did not because of all the work that was put into it. And there's this new character we got who's like the heart companion of the leader guy that I can't really say his title because my mouth doesn't like those letters together. And I don't know, she's so interesting, and I was so stressed for her because she is put in such a rough situation because we really have the most inept leader of things here. Like, oh my goodness. He should not be leading anything. Like, I hope something good comes of it, but like the economic stress of it all and like how it is a land that is trying to be claimed by two different lands but also wants to be independent. That's such like a relatable power struggle. Like that still happens today, like on Earth, like right now. And so I think that's being handled really well and really realistically and with a lot of tension. Like normally these are not the things that grab my attention. I normally care more about the personal details, but I have been like caring about Bingtown and wanting this town of Bingtown to be okay for so long. Like that was one of the things that was hard for me when I started Ship of Magic, was like, oh my gosh, this place is like losing its soul a little bit. And it made me feel sad because it was obvious that it wasn't what it was, and in the ways that it's changing were not for the better, you know, like it didn't feel like it was just like, oh, things were better back in my day. Like it didn't feel like that. It was like literally, it felt like, yes, maybe people weren't having to struggle as much, but now here comes slavery and all the decisions are made because of capitalism, and it all felt bad and real. And I want Bingtown to make it, but it seems like it's on fire. So I don't really know what its future has, but that's a little stressful. And then let's get to Kenneth, Rinthrow, is her name Etta, and Vivacia. This other, let's call it a love square. I really don't know what it is. Oh man. Talk about one of my favorite villains, Kenneth. Because he's not a good guy, but he's also not a bad guy. Like, he has manipulative, selfish intentions. He's a pirate. But oddly, everything he does, I'm like, but that's what I want to have happen. Like, I want you to save the slaves. I want you to rebuild this town. Like, I want you to be nice to Etta. Like, everything he does is manipulative and for a personal need, but it's still, like, a good thing. And, like, at the end, he did want Winthrow to be okay. So I do think he really does see himself in Winthrow and wants to protect Winthrow. And I'm so interested. Because I don't know, I've never hated Kenneth, mainly because last book I was hating Kyle so much, like I just couldn't, and Kyle's not really a big factor here. He's literally just like thrown in a dungeon somewhere, good riddance. And Kenneth is just so interesting to me, and that bond that he does have with Vivacia and Winthrow because of the blood in the wizard wood and everything like that. He does have some weird ideas that I'm like not pro. This is not the first Robin Hobb book where there's like really weird like pregnancy plot arcs, or want to have pregnancy plot arcs. Basically, he wants Etta to have Winthrow's kids so he has another tie to the Vivacia if Winthrow doesn't cooperate, but that feels bad. And I loved watching Etta and Winthrow like have a better relationship. I mean, it starts off just because Etta will do anything that Kenneth says, but like they really do form an understanding, and I think a really good, if not a friendship, like camaraderie with each other. And like it's that type of character interaction work that I eat up in this book, like watching bonds form and change and fall apart. Like one of the bonds I was most terrified of this book with Vivacia and Winthrow. They were so like a big thing in Ship of Magic, and here they feel so distant from each other a little bit because Vivacia, like Peregrine, is like discovering self-identity a little bit, but also like I feel they're in a weird place, and it's really stressful because I really do just want them to be friends. And I think they're more like family, which you're not always friends with your family, but you also always love them, and that feels like what that is. And I can only get as stressed as I get when I read this book because everything feels so real and relatable, and it's stressful because real life is stressful, which is why I cannot read Robin Hobb all the time, because I sometimes read to escape. And you cannot escape in Robin Hobb books. They are so immersive. But I think those are like all of the thoughts. Like there's so much that happened, but these were the things that like I just really wanted to get out there, things that really stuck with me. Like I finished this book like a week and a half ago, and I cannot wait to get to the third one. I don't even know where it's going. I have no clue. Like I just gotta know. I feel like there's still so many questions that I need answers to. I want to see what happens with the baby dragons, the serpents. I want to see what happens with Bingtown. I guess we gotta have the reunion of Althea and Vivacia. Like, what's that gonna be? I don't know. If you want to talk about this book with me, just mark everything with spoiler tags. Do not spoil the third book. Please, that would be so mean. Please don't do that. And otherwise, if you want to leave an emoji, leave like a ship. That feels right. If you're hearing meowing, it's my cat. He wants to also sign off in this video. But like if you liked it. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I have a needy cat. But if you made it this far and you want to leave a comment, leave a ship emoji, and like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.